now going to hand over to the Cabinet Secretary, who's going to talk to us about an investment guide, the tools and information that is being simplified for investing in mining in Kenya. He's expanding on the investor's six-pack. What does this mean for potential off-takers? And he's going to give us a run-through of Kenya's key minerals: titanium, gold, iron ore, gemstones, soda ash, coal, niobium, and many more. It therefore is my pleasure now to hand over to the Cabinet Secretary. That's on TV.
It's a great pleasure. Great pleasure to host you in Nairobi today. Good morning. Good morning. It's a great pleasure. Great pleasure to host you in Nairobi today. Good morning. Good morning. CEOs, captains of industry, friends of the mining sector in the country, delegates, would-be investors, colleagues in the sector. I'm sure we also have government represented here. It gives me immense pleasure to host you in Nairobi today for the second edition of the Kenya Mining Forum. This has been a dream for us. It's been a dream because, you know, I always say it's okay for us to go all over the world to learn and interact and network in different fora, different mine investment fora, and learn what's going on, best practice, compare notes. And we do this a lot. Every year we go down, for example, in Cape Town for the Indaba. We never miss to go down to Perth for the Africa Down Under. And I think we also a permanent fixture right now in the London Mines and Money. And we also find time to go to Ontario, Toronto, Canada, to learn how this sector should be grown. And you know, it takes a lot of partnership and goodwill to do this thing. But we thought it's also important to get the world to come to Kenya. Yeah? It's all good to visit other people, but you also want them to come back home to see firsthand the things that you tell them, whether it's true, and then together we can see how we can grow this sector forward. And that's why you see that big word on the left hand, Harambee. We call it Harambee in Swahili, but I know some of you will call it Harambee. And I know it depends where you went to school. If you went to a Rose Malindi school like me, I'll call it Harambee. But I appreciate that. So Harambee means pulling together. It's a word coined by the founding father of this great nation, the late President Jomo Kenyatta, who in 1963 saw an opportunity to pull people together towards nation building. And here we are being called upon, more or less like then, in a new sector, in a new frontier as it were, for all of us to pull together. Nobody should be left behind. Everybody's contribution is key. So we want all of you to come together to build the new frontier for the economic transformation of Kenya and the region. And I think we live in very exciting times. Before I go to my presentation, we live in very exciting times because mining has never been at the center of the economic discussion in the country. Never. In fact, the Ministry of Mining was formed, 5 years ago in 2013, when His Excellency the President took over. It was a department of the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources for many years. So there was no really focus on mining until we got our own ministry. That was a big thing for us. And I came in last year, January, officially sitting in the office. So I'm barely 2 years in office. It's incredible the kind of run we've done so far. And if you look at now, if part of the 1.5 years we've been in office, almost a half year has been taken over trying to clean up, to do reconfiguration, and put this industry to where you investors have been saying. You've been talking for a sector that is simple, is predictable, is stable, and we've been listening to what industry is saying, and we've been taking time to do in-house reconfiguration, so that when we come out, we're ready for you. We're ready for everybody. We're ready for the players to come in, and our job is to do what we do best, which is regulate the industry for private sector to succeed, because we want you to succeed. If you had another story before, please, that is, I want you to reset. We do not want to hear people in this sector making losses. I feel very depressed. You now know I work for IBM, and you have very steep targets. All right? What you say here is what is reported in New York in a couple of hours. So we want people to succeed. We want investors to succeed. And we'll be helping those who are struggling to succeed, because your success means so much more for us. It means you're able to create jobs, you're creating wealth, we are talking growth, we're talking GDP, we're talking sustainable economic environment. So we're here to make you success, because we know your success is our success. And so we've taken that time to do a little work internally, thanks to a group of incredible, talented team that I've put together in the ministry. And I have some of my advisors here. I can see Mwakesi, I can see Ismail, I think I saw Monica somewhere. Group of talented young men and women who came together and said, look, let's try to see what we can do to get it right. And of course, I worked with most of you industry captains to get your thoughts around this. We worked together with other private sector players, including the Kenyan Chamber of Mines. In fact, I relied a lot from them in the early beginning days to ensure that we get it right. So, because again, I come from private sector, and those private sector voices need to be respected. So here we are now. Part of the discussion we got from you led us to come with what we call the 6-pack. We had 6 key things that we wanted us to do to get right. Please go back. Okay, yeah, there, yeah. 6 key things that you want us to get right. First, you said, Waziri, without a proper strategy, it's going to be difficult. A proper strategy on how we're going to leapfrog mining. We're starting late in the game. But for us to become the center for the economic transformation of this country, we must have the strategy right. And even before I go there, I want to congratulate this sector for all the things we've done so far. Because guess what? For the first time ever, the mining sector was mentioned in President Uhuru Kenyatta's inauguration speech when he took over for his second and last time in office. He said mining is going to be one of the key factors to drive the Kenyan economy going forward. I think that a round of applause is fitting. If you think about it, even before, because some of us feel like we haven't done anything else, and I agree to some extent. But even when we start putting ourselves together, none other than the president himself is saying that is the future for us. And he's very particular about it, whether we're talking construction mineral sector, whether you're talking value addition, whether you're talking iron ore and steel production to drive industry. So already you are at the center of his doing, and that's why he's confirmed that tomorrow around noon he will be here with us. You guys are excited about that? For the first time. Because last time when we first we set up the Kenya Mining Forum at the Crown Plaza, we got the Deputy President, His Excellency the Deputy President William Ruto, to headline the event. That was last year at Crown Plaza. Now we're growing bigger and bigger. We're here now, 2nd edition, and President Uhuru Kenyatta said, I want to be here. So he'll be here tomorrow, and we look forward to that. So on one hand, it's exciting that President Uhuru Kenyatta has seen that we matter, and we're going to be the central part of the strategy going forward. But therein also lies a challenge. Yes, we've been put on a pedestal. Now, gentlemen and ladies, we must ensure that we deliver. We become truly the key driver for the economic transformation of Kenya and the entire region. So, yes, excitement, but 2, challenge. But I know again we're up to that challenge. So, after hearing what the industry is saying, we said we must come with a strategy, a 20-year strategy that can help us see how we leapfrog that sector. Because I keep telling my team, growth is too slow for us. You 5-year-old, Botswana is 50 years old in the sector. South Africa is 140 years old. So growth for us, I don't want to hear growth. I want to hear leapfrogging. Put yourself together, one giant leap, and you're in citizen CBD. Another giant leap, and we're the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And we get in a jet. And a couple hours, we're in all over the world. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. I don't want to hear growth. It's too slow for me. It should be too slow for you as well. So 20-year strategy on how we leapfrog the sector going forward. Number two, the mining policy. Kenya never had a policy on mining. So we had to sit down and see what the best way to organize the sector, to remove bad laws, to put up institutions and processes. The 20-year, the mining policy. Good news to all investors. Parliament has passed it, our policy, and we have our certificate now, and we are good to go. The agreement that this sector is key, and everything that will be presented in Parliament will be number one thing to be looked into. Aren't you guys happy about that? Aren't you guys happy about that? There you go. Two, the Mining Act of 2016. It was incredible. I joined January in the cabinet and get in office, and I look at the laws, and the only thing I'm confronted there is the Mining Act of 1940, World War II. Wow. And I'm looking at this, and everything just sounds colonial. Maybe pre-colonial. And we just couldn't transform, we couldn't leapfrog a sector with a set of laws like that. So you said we need to look into that. And guess what now? The Mining Act of 2016 came into effect on 27th of May last year, ushering a new whole sector. Together with that is mining regulations. After we got the Mining Act on 6th of May last year, we shut down all operations because we had to come with all these regulations to enable us to work, to give effect to the law. And there were drafts in the office, and we had to take them through public participation across the nation, across different industry stakeholders, and again put them in Parliament for them to be approved. And that was another big issue. And so, by the way, for the past, so from June up to July, that's a whole year, we had to do a lockdown in the office to prepare the sector. That was the bigger part. And luckily, a few weeks to election, on 8th of August, I think end of July, 14 regulations were passed by Parliament. So we have 14 set of regulations right now. And that's why we can confidently say now the sector, as a mining sector, we're ready for business. We got our policy, we got our strategy, we got our policy, we got our law, and we got regulations, 14 of them. In fact, there are 7 more regulations, 5 of them already drafted, that are waiting to go to Parliament to be enacted. So we are busy doing the regulation to ensure that the sector works according to your aspirations, our aspirations government, and aspirations community. And of course, the stable fiscal regime. You said you need we need to revise this fiscal regime, the fiscal policy that you have, and for a good measure, because, by the way, that's a very sticky issue. Some of you have heard stories from African countries. You know, people just wake up one day and say, we're changing the taxation regime. We're charging 30%. Why? Because we feel like. No, because no, you guys been ripping us off. I'm sure you hear those stories. So we say no, we want a stable fiscal regime. That again will be based and put through a process of public participation, industry participation. So we're clear. You can't just say, wake up and say, I feel like charging 10% royalty on gold. Based on what? You can say, no. This year, let's do 7% on titanium. That's not the way, in our view, industry works. So we have worked together with, I'm sure later we have worked with other industry stakeholders to come up with that type of policy, paper that we can discuss, very advanced now, so we can come with a fiscal regime that is stable and predictable. No surprises. And finally, Geo-data. Data. It's open secret that our data is old. In fact, I'm sure I have a gentleman from British Geological Survey here. Do we have someone from BGS? of the UK. I got a chance to go to London last year, and we had Britain here as our colony, and through our study we realized that they got historical data on Kenya. And so when I was in London, I'd say to take a train ride to Nottingham, and saw this big, massive campus, and I went down and saw rows and rows of files, geological files on geological data from all the colonies. And I was told, Kenya, this is your line, this is your row. So I saw 60 files there. And we're having a conversation right now, discussion to come with an MOU of how we can get our historical data back. That can help, investors when they're looking at how they want to move forward. But that historical data plus new data that we can come with, that we're just about to embark on a project, one of the presidential strategic project, which is mapping the entire country. That should be able to help you as an exploration company, as a mining company, to see where you want to focus on, because data is key. So those are 6 things that are key priority areas that you talked about, and we have been seriously working around the clock to deliver that on you, so that you can be successful. Second slide. Good. I don't want to go back there, that's because that's what we talked about, the 20-year strategy. Right now we have a draft. I have my advisor on strategy leading that, Madam Monica, she's here. Come January, we want to focus on that. Maybe by first quarter, we should be done with it. And it is, you can see, it's founded on a scoping study done by McKinsey. McKinsey, you know McKinsey very well. They did a study and we looked at it and say, okay, based on that scoping document, we will use that and other voices to come with a proper study for us. Also that is the artisanal mining strategy. Because I know here I'm talking mainly on the big players, but also mining is a key economic activity for a lot of people in the villages, in counties. And we need to come with a proper artisanal mining strategy. By the way, the artisanal miners were not even recognized in the old law of 1940. It's in the Mining Act 2016 that they have become legitimate now. And so as government, we must come with something that can help us, help them grow as well. They may be small, individually, but collectively, if they help together, there can be something as well. And yes, mining should be for the big players, the mid players, but also the small guys as well. They should also be part of that. Look, this law, and we will continue talking, of course, because there's no perfect law. We believe this is the most progressive mining law in the continent. But I've had a couple of voices coming up saying, we're not comfortable with this and we're not comfortable with that. We are telling you as industry captains here, we are listening, we continue to listen. The National Assembly leadership is welcoming any thoughts coming from you that makes sense, that will help the sector and help everybody else, that whenever we present this presentation, they'll be ready to change the laws or to amend the laws to ensure that they confine to what industry wants. Of course, in the spirit of win-win. Because here we want to win for you industry players first, because you're the investors. But we want to win for the communities and for government as well. So it should be win-win across the board. All right, so we talked about that as well. I said 7 regulations. We did 14 by July. And now as we continue with the others, we think we're doing 7 now, but 5 are already ready. All these regulations will be subject to public participation, industry voice. We want to hear what you're saying, what you think about them. So that we come in a sector that I don't hear voices like, oh, the industry is over-regulated or it's strict. We want to hear from you, what you're saying. And of course, we will be factoring your ideas in it, but also we'll be listening to other people as well, so that we come with a sector that is properly regulated. Go ahead. Okay, and we talked about that fiscal regime. DFID have been very helpful. If there are people here from the UK aid, we want to thank you so much, because you've been really supportive for us. and you have heard what we want to do, and all the time when we brought proposal for you, you would help us out. For DFID, thank you so much for that, and we look forward to working with you to continue fine-tuning some of the key issues in the sector. Okay, we talk about the airborne geophysical survey. Now, where are we right now? I'm very happy to inform you that just last week, I think it was Friday, now actually on Monday this week, the government of Kenya finally signed off the final legal opinion for this project. I think it's one of the projects that has really been fast-tracked, because we literally sat down at the AGs and the Treasury every day to ensure that we get this right, because we got a facility from Exim Bank, what's $70 million, that's $7 billion. And this is a government-to-government project between government of Kenya and government of China. So a contractor has been identified called GETI, that's GETI, Geological Exploration Technology Institute, together with the Exim funding. And the support of, we do have, you may be happy to know that we do have an international consultant who will be working with GETI. This is IGS of the UK, and Watson and Grant, PWG of Canada. So the Canadians and the British will team up to become the leading consultant for the project. The project contractor is GETI of China, and the funding is coming from Exim Bank. According to the plan, we were ready to, by January, we expect the contractor to start mobilizing, and we'll be ready to launch this project by February. So exciting times for us, because it's important for us to map this country properly, know where our minerals are. I always keep wondering, in my imaginative way, why should we build a big hotel like that when deep inside here we could have the biggest diamond deposits in the world? So maybe let's map up first before we build hotels, because you never know. So that is an exciting project for us. It takes 1 year, preliminary study, then we'll be having the 2 years of analysis. So exciting times for us. The laboratory, it's a very key. We have our center of excellence, or should be a center of excellence, at the Madindi Center on Mombasa Road there. It has a lab, very old lab, a library and periodical section, very old as well, and dilapidated. And then we do have, we should be building also a data center, not really non-existent for now. But those are three things in my view which are very key in having a center of excellence that can drive the sector forward. So what are we doing right now? We have been, I was in Germany last year, went to Berlin, Dresden, and Freiburg, and worked with the different institutes there. And the Germans have come with a proposal on how to upgrade the certification laboratory so that it's in working order, so we can be testing our rocks right here in Kenya. You know, the interesting thing, Pete, you are in Freiburg, a small town in Germany, and you're seeing rocks from where? DRC, Congo, being sent there for testing. You know, as an African, I'm like, no, this can't be right. We should be testing these rocks right here at home. If it's not in Kinshasa, in Uganda, or Kigali, it should be Nairobi. So we want to upgrade that so that we can be testing our rocks right here in Kenya. And I know the frustration some of you get when you have to take these rocks to either South Africa or Australia. That's time lost. And as businesses, we don't want to waste time. Or Germany. So let's build our capacity here. So the laboratory is very important, and we're working very closely with German experts who are based at the Untitled Chapter University, which has a collaboration with German universities here. And we talk about, okay, next. Okay. Early this year, His Excellency the President, in his wisdom, decided that the overall national policy on extractives has to be domiciled in the Ministry of Mining. I thought that was a big honor for all of us. Again, the growing influence of the Ministry of Mining. That started now, we should be the one to sit down, and some of you will have to, that policy is in draft. we need to sit down with you and hear your thoughts about the overarching national policy on extractives. And extractives here is oil, gas, minerals, even natural resources, including forests. So we've been given that mandate to come with the overall national policy on extractives in the country. And you and I know today the biggest funding, the biggest amount of money the foreign direct investment into Africa are in the extractive sector. So if we sit down here, we'll be doing a lot of service, not just in our country, but in Africa as well, because most African countries can actually come to Kenya and see what we did on how to organize the entire extractive sector. So we have that role. And it's, when that draft at some point, we'll have to sit down with you as stakeholders to get your thoughts around it. Okay? Value addition, value addition, value addition. If you look at, you had the president's speech, it was very key that everything that has to be taken out of the country, we must see value addition happening. That means more jobs, that means more revenue, because a refined mineral means it has more value than unrefined piece. So that's a key piece, and we understand from industry concerns sometimes that sometimes value addition is relative, and we understand that, but that's key. For example, for gemstones, I know some items it's going to be hard to do value addition, but some, let's try as much as possible to see what we can do to do value addition. So value addition, for example, Taita is the value addition center for gemstones. You know, Taita is a gemstone-rich county, and that's the building's been given to us now with power and water, and we've put also furniture. I think by mid-December we'll be having all the equipment and we'll be ready to do that. We have funding to build up a granite processing plant in Western Kenya, in Vihiga. So the only challenge we do have there is land. So if you have land there, kindly avail for us. We have the funding to do this project. We work very closely we've sent a team to Rwanda. They do have a similar project called the East African Granite Industries. And we saw that. And by the way, this to me rose very well with the focus by the president on the construction mineral sector. Remember this, he talked about a big push on housing. Huge. Remember the focus on huge infrastructure projects. Now, when you marry that with these granite industries, that means more material for us to for the construction sector. So we are very advanced. When you get land, we're ready to run with that. Next. Okay, I'll spend a few minutes because you interact with us every time on this, and I know also we do have challenges, but this is key. In fact, I dare say, industry, you've been asking for only 3. We gave you 6 issues. We tried to treat 6 problems, but essentially you only had 3 issues that you're talking about every day. You said you wanted a cadastre that's online, that you can work from anywhere in the world. You said you want a law, and you said you want data. Only 3 things. The other things we're giving you is, additions. Okay? So what have we done there? You know we have an online cadastre that you can access Kenyan mineral opportunities through your phone or your laptop or wherever you are in the world. You can check what you have and you can see which area you're interested in. It's online, it's working. Maybe the only thing we have sometimes is access, network, but we're working around that. But this is, when we said we'll be reducing the amount of time for you to access for your application to be processed from 180 days to 120 days, and we want this to even come down further. So application, renewal license, and payment is going to be online. It's also good that you don't have this interaction with people, and then other issues come up, undesirable interaction with people doesn't come up. So this is what you've been saying, and this is what you're giving you. Transparency, accountability, okay? And of course, the one thing that as a regulator that I'm keen on as a policymaker is the issue of conflicts. I want to hear less and less conflicts in the sector. I have sat down with people, team, colleagues, people who are fighting for 20 years, 10 years, 25 years. Now you're wasting 25 years in conflicts, and you got minerals in your village and you don't have water, you don't have electricity, kids are not going to school, you're still looking for bursary from members of parliament, and you got millions and hundreds of millions under you, and you are in conflict. It doesn't make sense. So less and less conflicts, so we can extract what's in there for us, so we can create wealth and not become rich and go for holidays. I think I want to go for holiday. You don't want to go for holiday. So this is very important. So conflicts. So I urge industry players, kindly, if you have time, if there's something that's coming up, sit down, because it's in our best interest to see that we have lesser conflicts. That's a huge issue for us. And I tell you later on why it's even in January I'll be sitting down in Dubai to present the Kenya government in a conflict. Instead of us extracting, we're busy spending time in courts. We should be spending time in the mines and make money, instead of going in courts and talking to lawyers, with all due respect to lawyers. Okay, next. Okay, so I'll take briefly, I think this basically, I just give you how specific industries are working, because basically my presentation is sent over. But I'll just give you a snapshot of how different industry players, industry segments are working. And we divide this into one, large-scale operation. I'll start large-scale operation. Large-scale operation, medium-scale operation, small, artisanal small-scale operation. So we're starting with exploration, because Kenya is still a greenfield. There's a huge opportunity for exploration. According to the stats we have, 90% of the rock that contains, 95% of the rock that contains gold is yet to be explored. Massive opportunity, 95%. So we here saying we don't have money and there's gold all over the place, and we have not even started. And I'm happy I'm seeing Acacia here, and Peter and his team, and Philippa. And this is their story, by the way. So don't believe all the story here. There's people already doing a lot of work here. Look at that. Acacia, with all the story we had, they came to Kenya a couple years ago. Is it early this year? Yeah? It was early this year. Yes, yeah? Now I'm talking about that big story. Early this year. Yeah? They discovered 1.3 ounces of gold in Western Kenya. This is the next big thing. Barry Acacia is 60% owned by Barry Gold of Canada. Okay? And they've been working here, incredible, working with the community in Western Kenya. And by the way, these guys, they do a lot of work, but they've just been quiet. Maybe that's a good thing. You don't shout, let your work shout for you. So look at that. And I know Peter doesn't want to hear those figures up, but this should be for the room, not for the rest of the sector. The value of the gold they found in the area in Western Kenya is between 170 billion to 200 billion. Incredible. And look at that. They spent 2.8 billion on exploration, which again, that means jobs. It means a lot of opportunity for the local people there. And for me, that's, apart from, of course, discovering the gold, this to me is the bigger story. And I think early this year, they're going to spend another 1.2 billion to do further exploration. Okay? And they're telling me, until they revise the plan, that in Q1, they'll be doing the groundbreaking for advanced studies. Okay? Advanced studies. So by the end of the year, hopefully we can start the facility, hopefully. And we really want to support them, work together, because this is the type of project that can put Kenya on the map. Remember leapfrogging. Remember no growth. We hear the buzzword is leapfrogging. Growth is too slow for us. Okay? And the thing that they're not talking about, they've spent over 50 million shillings on scholarship for the community to get to school, to become the next generation of mine engineers or country managers of Acacia. That's the stories we want to hear. Okay? Even the guy managing this presentation didn't want me to talk about the scholarship that Acacia is giving to the local people. That's a good story as well. It's what made some of us go to school, being helped by people who are really to support the next generation of Kenyan leaders. So large-scale operation. Oh, we have base in the house, and all over here. We thank you so much for your having put Kenya in the map. Acacia is still coming up, but base is really the company that has put us in the map. Everywhere you go, and my team was in Perth early this, I think around September, for the Africa Down Under. And let me thank the Foreign Affairs Minister of Australia, Madam Bishop, for taking 4 slides of her speech to talk about BES and how this project has transformed the lives of people in Kwale, become a part of the economy of the country, done a project based on global best practice. And I was in Nairobi, and I'm seeing Joe there. I wasn't there, Joe, but I've probably been briefed, and I've been there myself. We hope His Excellency the President can get time to go there as well, because it's this type of project that can become, the example of how we should be doing mining. Of course, we're not perfect. We will also continue fine-tuning, ensure that especially the needs of communities are taken care of. But this is the kind of story we hear. That's Kwale. Let the horizon not cheat you. Beyond that horizon is the most beautiful beach in Africa. So I think the best team are very lucky people. They work very hard in the mine, but within minutes they're on the beach. And I can't think of a better place to work. So BES, as you know, they started this mineral sands project in 2010. They bought it from Tiomin. They've found $350 million on this project. Effectively, the biggest mining project we do have in the country. And they have to date given royalties worth 1.1 billion shillings. The only challenge we have, of course, and it's nothing of their fault, we need to come with mechanism as government to ensure that that royalty, again, according to the new law that we have and the new regulation that we have now, which were passed only this July, to ensure that the royalty also trickle down to the community, so that we don't hear communities making a lot of comments, which they should, they justify, they scorn the law, and the county government as well, they must get a piece of that as well. But that's nothing to do with BES, it's us to ensure that we do that. They are ready now with that success. By the way, the one thing that you need to know before I go anywhere, the port of Mombasa, the gateway to East and Central Africa, the port of Mombasa, Kilindini Harbour, the number one export for many years was tea. Ali, this is the big story. For many years, the number one export of the port of Mombasa was tea. Today, industry colleagues, I'm happy to inform you that the number one export of the port of Mombasa is no longer tea or coffee. It's minerals, it's titanium, number one export. Come on, I want to clap for that. Number one. Number 2 is tea, number 3 is coffee, and guess what, number 4? Soda ash, another mineral. So we've taken over the port of Mombasa. And guess what, for the import, the number one import of the port of Mombasa is oil. We consume a lot of oil in this country, in the region. But the number 2 import of the port of Mombasa is clinker. Clinker, again, set of minerals used for what? Cement production. We have taken over your town, Ali. That port of Mombasa is a mineral port now. Okay? And we just started. That's the exciting part. We've just started. I think the third one is gold. I think I'll probably look at the stats again. So today, and I know BES have pushed the numbers up a little bit, but the total output of Kenya's mineral, Kenya's mineral output, over 50% of it come from BES. I think that's a safe way to say. Over 50% of the total output of Kenya minerals comes from only one company, BES. That's us. Come on, I'll clap for that again. Excellent stuff. But that's a challenge. I want to hear other players coming in and challenging BES. So that way, if you have 5, 6, 10 BES type companies, imagine what that means for our economy. So again, they've done well to create jobs there and opportunities. So at high level, that's what the numbers look like. But just go ahead because we talked about that. The total export, the total revenue coming from base is over 16 billion K shillings from one mine, over 16 billion shillings. It's effectively, of course, the number one and controlling or contributing of 50% of our and this is the kind of story we want to hear. So some of the challenges we have is they have a 7 year remaining, but we have to work together to ensure that we give them the opportunity to do exploration around the area. If they find more mineral sands deposits, then they can stay there longer and continue to create jobs and we continue the big. So, but even with that, look what they've done. They've constructed an 8-kilometer tarmac road. They've put a power station there, dams and boreholes, port facilities. They have their own port facility at Kilindini. They don't use the general one. And I know they built schools. They built 2 schools. They built a dispensary, a health center actually. They've started a cotton demonstration center. And again, if you heard President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech on inauguration, he talked very passionate about how Kenya now should be focusing on apparel, the textile economy. If we are serious about that, then we should start growing cotton ourselves here. And look at what Bears is already doing. Even though it's their mining company, they already started the demonstration center for cotton production, preparing the people of Kwale ahead of the curve, so that tomorrow they'll be the biggest beneficiary of this new thinking, new economic agenda, where textile and cotton becomes the key driver for us. Excellent stuff. So they have seen some deposits, around 28% of deposits for titanium around Vanga area, and we will be supporting them because it's the right thing to do. If you put 35 billion shillings here, investment, I think certainly the government needs to support you. And that investment can only become better if we see how we can maximize it going forward. Next. Okay, I've talked about all this. I talked about by the 5,000 ceilings. And these are not just stories, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been there. I've seen the nursery. These things are important because later on we'll have to reforest the place and ensure that the whole place is rehabilitated. I have seen this myself. That I talked about the cotton demonstration center there, and equip the 2 primary schools and the health center. And then go back a little bit, because I've been hearing some stories coming from Kwale, especially from the political class, that, we've not seen the jobs. Look, the job for the locals, 640 direct jobs. So there is political talk and there is real numbers. And here, as people in the boardrooms, we believe in real numbers, and the real numbers is simple. Profits equals investment minus cost. Basically, so real numbers, that's it. 640 direct jobs, 1,430 indirect jobs in supply chain, 1,360 induced jobs. And lots of technology transfer. Someone from base tomorrow should be able to live there and work in a mine in Congo or Zambia or anywhere else. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. The next generation of mining profession should start from here, schooled and have the relevant experience. So great stuff coming from Kwale there, and we want this to become now the if you like. And by the way, they got the Vision 2030 approval, okay? And it's now a Vision 2030 flagship project. And that's, if you can take yourself as a mining project to that level, that's the kind of stuff we're looking at. Next. Okay, I'll spend a brief about soda ash. Soda ash is probably one of the oldest mining projects we have in Kenya. Started the British in 1911. Wow, this is World War, before World War II, no, World War I. I'm a student in history, so I should know. So we are the number 3 largest soda ash producing country in the world. Okay, and from there, this company has changed hands. Now it's owned by Tata Magadi. It used to be owned by the British company, Bruno Mond Holdings of UK, but now owned by Tata Chemicals Magadi. And the main products there is mainly salt and industrial salt and soda ash. And the plant has been upgraded to take up to 700,000 metric tons per year. And they've been paying royalty We've increased that from 2 to 3, and we're having conversation how best to support them. So they have a whole rail line from Magadi to connect to the Malindi, to Mombasa and Kisumu railway line. So those are figures in a nutshell. You can see, go back, you can see an improvement, a very high number in 2012, 2013, but you know where we've come from. Last year we had issues of commodity prices, challenges at the global stage, but still, look, we are doing what, 500,000 metric tons, 549,000 metric tons, this 2016, 2017. And yes, the company is, to me, is turning the corner, and will be supporting to ensure that it continue to produce. So mainly soda ash and salt and crushed refined soda. That's what we're producing there. Go next. Those are sales figures and royalty. So everybody is paying royalty, and we've also been very keen that people must be paying royalty, because it's not just for us. It's the expectation of the community. When we go there, we want to come and celebrate you as an investment, money investment, give you all the total support. But when you get out of your compound, we're confronted with another group of people, the communities. And we must also be ready with answers for them as well. And that's why the royalty is important, especially that in law that they need to be getting. Not just the community, but the county government as well. So we did that so that spirit of win-win is upheld. Next. So what I'm really happy about, because you know I was a member of parliament, you heard about that. I didn't finish my term though. I was supposed to do 5 years, 3 years on I moved into the cabinet. But the 3 years I worked in Malindi as a member of parliament. Of course, the community issues are key. And look at that. The best equipped hospital in Kajiado County is a hospital within the Magadi complex. Amazing. The number one, the top school in Kajiado County, that's a school within Magadi. And those are the kind of stories that you as a leader, as a policymaker, you want to be proud of. There's water, of course, supplied in the area, and local water, especially in Magadi, because Magadi is a dry area, and that water helps a lot for the community. Next. Okay, Flospa, here is a tricky story. It's been a struggling company. Again, this is one of the top 10 wild deposits of fluorspar in the world. Top 10, I think number 8 thereabout, yes. It has a long history from the 1970s. It was government company, it changed ownership over the years. But the challenge here is last year, the mine operator there has been having challenges in terms of pricing globally. And in his view, on their view, they feel like they can't sustain the continued reduction of pricing of fluorspar globally. So they're saying they want to walk away of the project by 31st. They won't renew their license, which expires on 31st of March. We believe there's an opportunity there as well. So I think very soon, I think starting this month, we'll be asking for investors to give their proposals. Those who will be interested, because the person who's there will not be asking for renewal of their license. You know, the interesting thing about this fluorspar is I sat down with a friend of mine. I won't call him a friend, but he's a South African. And this gentleman does not, he has a license, a fluorspar license in South Africa. Here's a very interesting story. He has a license in South Africa. He has not started mining. He just did exploration and did some analysis, and that's it. So, and then even before he mines, he has 3 global orders of fluorspar. 2 from the US, 1 from Germany. And the price is amazing, over $200 per ton, over. And then he tells me, but you are mining fluorspar. And I say, yes, but the prices, what I'm getting there, or what my miner is getting, are incredibly low, and he doesn't want to move on. So there is a challenge. He's a man in South Africa with a resource he has not even started mining, and he's talking about an opportunity for, and they already have orders. So I think, in my view, this is still an opportunity. okay, depending where you get markets from. So we'll be very soon sitting down before the expiration of this license, and we will have a discussion. They'll be walking away, but we'll be very keen to see who else wants to come in to become part of this, either as the lead investor, to lead the other, coalition of investors in the opportunity. Because we still feel this is an opportunity for us. We have a world-class deposit there in Kimware, in Elgeyo Marakwet, and we'll be keen to get the right mix of investors to take advantage of this. Next. Okay. Interesting thing. Just go back there. Interesting thing. Even as they as you hear problems of Kimware, of Elgeyo Marakwet, of the Kenyan Fluorspar Company. Look at the numbers in 2016. One of the highest, 42,000 tons. In value, 800 million. Not so bad from the previous numbers. So I still feel here there's an opportunity for us to look into exactly what makes this project tick, and it should. How to make this project successful. So as the industry players who have networks across the world, this thing is up for grab, and we'll be looking at the best combination to make it successful. Because again, last year was a depressing year for me, because all the time what we hear is, 200 people have been fired, have been laid off. And you go there, it's a sad story. People have to go without jobs and so on. But they do have one of the best schools there. The Fluorspar Primary School has produced one of the top policy makers in the country today who went through that school. So next. Again. Okay. So there again, just to go back there, just to talk about what's already ongoing. But this is already ongoing. Even though the company has those challenges, look at what they're doing. A well-equipped school, a health center, modern working, a modern sports center as well, and of course it provides you. So the government is keen on how to fix this, because again we want this to be successful, just like Magadi, just like Bez, just like any other project here. When you set up shop in Kenya, you must be successful. Okay, let's go on. Diatomite. Okay, I won't spend more time and just go ahead. Go. So we have a deposit diatomite in the country as well. I think the African diatomite industries, again, it's established before independence. It has changed hands in terms of ownership. This is area I know also it's been having challenges as well, but we're trying to work together, especially in terms of markets, to ensure that we have markets for the products. The use for diatomite, as you can see, it's in juice industries. Mostly it's in just a mineral. So it's used in breweries, juice industries, and the like. And we have been selling 10,000 tons annually of diatomite, mainly in Kariandusi in the Rift Valley. Early, I think late last year, a company from China, Changshan International Mining Company, they obtained a license to start mining diatomite in Baringo. So it's a new project worth 4 billion shillings. That's an opportunity again, a new opportunity for diatomite. So we've got 2 diatomite companies focusing on this area. Anybody who will be willing to have further discussion will be able to do that. Let's go to coal briefly. And they'll be very brief because the coal deposit, the biggest coal deposit we've had is from Kitui, and there are 4 blocks there that have been largely driven by the Ministry of Energy, because the Ministry of Energy took over our team from the Ministry of Mining to help them look at the ways of sector is formal, is safe, is clean, is productive, and adequately supported. And they need as much as support as all of us, in terms of whether it's a funding support, it's equipment, it's education, and these are people, these are brothers and sisters. So and I think, like I say, individually they don't mean much, but together they can be huge. If you look at the gold, and I'm sure most of you have worked very closely in the West Africa circuit. If you look at the story of Mali, I think last year they sold over 70 tons of gold. 25 tons of all that came from the small scale players. So collectively, nobody's small anymore. So these guys as well, just go, the next. Okay? Look at the numbers. You're talking about 140,000 additional scale players in the country. 70,000 in the construction mineral sector, the quarrying that I talked about. 40,000 in gold, especially if you go to parts of Migori, you'll find these players there. And Kakamega. 30,000 in the gemstone sector. This is huge. Over 80% of Kenyan gemstones is these small guys who actually extract it. So it's an opportunity that we need to keep supporting them. And we know now the legitimate players, and we need to support them as well. And this is the kind of people who will get something to take their kids to school and get something, food on the table at the end of the day. Let's go. Okay? So I'm finishing now. Like I said, this is key for us. We're working very closely to support them, put them in an association, put them put committees, permitting committees in their area so they can be getting permits rather than the county instead of coming to Nairobi. Make it easier for them. Look for support from government for them so that they can also come up as well. I think I want to finish there. Stephen, is there anything else? So now just go back there. I think maybe they can appreciate this. So guys, this is how tough mining can be. It's scorching sun in the plains of Tsavo. The lions are lurking behind there, and the buffaloes, and then you're busy trying to dig the next gem. So it's a situation where, again, like I say, we need to find a way to support these people. Thank you so much. Welcome to Kenya. I wish you all the very best. Let's interact. Let's go. God bless you.